Opping in Valorant is one of the strongest positions to play in the game, and if you don't know how to play against an opper, it could easily be the difference between winning and losing the game. In this video, I will show you a few ways to counter an opper, including team play and individual gunplay and movement as well. Before I do so, I wanted to let you guys know that I stream every Monday and Friday on Twitch at 2 p.m. Central. The link is in the description. We've been playing and learning a lot of Valorant on stream, so if you want to become a part of the community, I recommend coming and hanging out with the rest of us over on Twitch. Also, I have a Discord server in the description as well, where I'd gladly answer any other questions about this or any other video I have. Lastly, we are super close to hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and affiliate on Twitch, so please consider subscribing to my YouTube and following my Twitch as well. Now, sometimes the opposing team will have an operator player who just cannot die. Either they can't miss a shot or they are positioning themselves in a very good place. Now, the first thing you never want to do when engaging in a battle with an operator is peek out and die one by one. This is one of the main reasons why the operator is so good, is because you are lining up your whole team to eventually get shot down individually. However, this doesn't really mean that running into the site at the same time is effective either. If you rush right into sight behind your teammate, you could both get shot and killed with one bullet. Never run in right behind your teammate's back when encountering an operator, because you are just setting yourself up for failure. In my opinion, the best way to deal with an op player is to take out your enemies around it and using your utility to make sure the operator cannot peek. If you know where this operator is playing, slow it out, smoke it, wall it, just make sure the operator is your last target. This lets you have many people watching the place the operator is playing, but from many different angles. Therefore, if you were to peek, they would get shot down. However, sometimes the operator will play very aggressive. For example, on Bind, B long and A short are usually always being peeked by an operator. Now, there are many ways you could go about playing around the operator, but the best way in my opinion is to force the operator out of position using utility, because ultimately putting enough pressure on the op could force him out of position, leading to a free pick. However, sometimes, in fact most times, it isn't this easy. If the op player is playing super aggressive, sometimes the best option is to peek it and have your teammates get the refrag. It doesn't mean you should just rush into the enemy's sightlines. You should bait the operator first and push it as fast as possible. When encountering an op, the player is going to try to stay as far away from you as possible. So if you push up as far as you can, swinging on the opper will be an easy frag. Now, how do you bait the shot? There are a few ways you can bait the shot, but my personal favorite is by jiggle peeking. You only want to do this about once or twice though, because otherwise the enemy will catch into your rhythm and shoot you down. Here are a few examples of jiggle peeking to get the pick on the operator. Keep in mind, this is the most risky way of taking down an opper. You should always go to utility before going into a gunfight. Here you can see a few clips of me jiggle peeking an opper. However, in all these clips, I knew where the opper was, so this shows how important it is to jiggle peek to make sure you know where the operator is before you try to engage it in any sort of battle. You can also see here how hard it is to shoot a jiggle peeker who's doing it correctly. However, sometimes if you jiggle peek and peek too long, it will end up in you getting fragged yourself. However, now let's transition into an opper playing A long on Haven. You can throw a flash, breach, stun, or even have a jet dash across to bait the shot. However, sometimes the opper will fall back and get to an even stronger position when it is forced out with utility. But this usually means that there's more than one place for your team to peek the player from. However, most of the time, the enemy team has rotated by now, so the opper is harder to get to. Then you have the choice to either rotate or stick with the current site. For this case, we're going to stick with the current site, since we know where the opper has fallen back to, and if you know where the opper has gone, smoke them off or use other utility to pick off their teammates and put pressure on the operator player. If oppers are in angles that you don't need to take control of, smoking them is the best way to deal with them. Keep in mind, I wouldn't recommend smoking yourself off from the opper unless they are on site. I would use other utilities such as flashes to actually get through the first angles. In this example, you can see that I am holding C long in Heaven, and I am peeking it since I have a Marshal on the defense side. Now the second I see their raise, I peek and bait the second shot, since the first person to peek C long is almost always an opper. Once I bait the shot out, I quickly peek to hold the angle, which gives me an advantage over the opper. This is another example. Here you can see the enemy raise is using an op on top of ramp on A of split. We communicate this across our team, so one person is holding the bottom of the site while I put pressure on the opper to hopefully force them towards the bottom of the ramp. Then here you can see, the second the raise takes a shot, I am lined up with a perfect shot on the enemy raise to win the game. Now this is a 1v3 situation where the opposing team has an op sitting in heaven on A. I wish to get as close to cover as possible so I can take out the rest of the team before encountering the op. Now, know that we have spike planted, so I'm just trying to stall as long as possible and force the opper to jump down. Once I get the pick on jet, I use my E to get intel as to where the opper is, to make sure they aren't rotating down to CT, etc. And here I am just doing simple peeks to pressure the op, knowing I'm not going to peek enough to be shot. And finally the Omen jumps down, but he does not have enough time to defuse, so I play aggressive and unfortunately don't get the final frag. However, we still win the round. Now this is the final clip I want to actually explain to you, and it is with Reyna while I am ulting. The enemy team saved 2 rounds so they can afford an op to hold the B site. Our team makes a call that the opper is playing CT, so I start taking control of elbow and the hallway. We also know that the enemy Omen has been playing on A site, so once it ults we know that it is either behind us or in the hallway. However, I fortunately hear the Omen teleporting into the hallway, so I quickly swing on him and peek their operator as well, re-peek the op and crouch, which is enough for the opper to miss, and I get the free pick. This was a very important pick to get, since it would ensure our win for this round, and it also put the enemy team at an economic crisis. Now you can see how strong Jiggle peeking and playing as a team can be when playing against an op. In reality, if you play correctly, an op without a team alive should be an easy frag, as long as you coordinate it with your team. I know that most players you will get in solo queue will not work with you, but if you master the fact of pushing and pressuring the opper and Jiggle peeking to get information, you should still have a good chance at destroying the enemy snipers by yourself. You don't want to constantly Jiggle peek every angle though, because the enemies will most likely catch on. So use utility and change it up every time, and sometimes playing aggressive will be unexpected to a point where you can still get an easy pick on the opper, as you can see in this clip. The most important parts about taking out an enemy sniper are to work with your team to surround the player, use utility to pressure the player, and get refrags. Now if you want some more explanation, hop in my Twitch and Discord, links are in the description. Also, if you have any other strategies, possibly stronger ones than I listed, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'd be glad to either make a follow-up video or respond to such strategies. So until Friday, which is my next stream, see you later.
Remaining.
Dude,
one enemy
I just
remaining.
wallbanged someone through this smoke.